Lindsey Graham, after having lunch with President Trump today, said Zelensky either needs to resign or they need to send someone over that we can do business with. Do you feel that President Zelensky needs to resign?
Well, that's Lindsey's feeling because he feels very passionately. You know, he's been a very strong supporter of Ukraine. Lindsey Graham has been one of the strongest voices for Ukraine. Well, the United States, the president's taken no position on that. What he said today is let him come back when he's ready to do peace. That's what he said. Let him come back when he's ready to do peace. So I can't speak for what anybody else said. I can only go off the words from the president of the United States, and that is today this is not going to be productive any further. When Zelensky's ready to make peace and he's serious about peace, let him come back then. And that's when we'll re-engage with them. And what he means by that is when he understands—
And how will you measure that?
Well, I think it's everything I've said already. And that is, how are you going to get Vladimir Putin and the Russian Federation to a table to discuss even the opportunity, even to explore whether there's an opportunity for peace? You're not going to do it by calling them names. It makes everybody feel very good. You can pass resolutions. You can put out very strongly worded statements. Senators can do it. I did when I was in the Senate. House members can do it. Commentators can do it. And countries that have no real skin in the game can do it. But when you are the president of the United States of America and you're trying to bring about peace the way Donald Trump is trying to bring about peace, the only way to do it is you have to create space for people to come to the table and talk. And that is something we should all be applauding, not criticizing, and not pretending that we can just extend this war forever until and that everybody has unlimited resources to continue to fund it on both sides, by the way.
And President Zelensky has said he does want this war to end. He just cares about how it ends. We heard that from the other European leaders who came to the Oval Office also this week. President Trump said to me today, before that shouting match erupted in the Oval Office, that he doesn't believe there have to be security guarantees in place before the ceasefire, that you can come to a ceasefire agreement and then put those in place. Do you agree with that?
That's not what he said. What he said is, why am I going to be talking about security guarantees? Let me get a peace deal first, is what he said. That doesn't mean they can't happen as part of that negotiation, but you have to have an agreement. What peace is there to secure if you first don't have an agreement on peace? Like, what do the Russians need in order to end this conflict? What
so you're saying it would happen as part of the negotiations?
Well, again, how do you end a war? You have to find out what the combatants require in order to stop shooting at each other. What are the Russians' needs? What do they need to see in order for them to stop fighting? What do the Ukrainians need in order to stop fighting? And then once you have that in place, then you can decide the next step, which is, and what do we need to do to make sure this never happens again, that it doesn't happen in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I don't think President Trump is interested in a one-year ceasefire. I don't think he's interested in a 6-month ceasefire. He wants this thing to end. He has said that repeatedly. But again, he's not going to use the kind of language that maybe plays well in the public sphere or in the political sphere for people that want to take shots at him, but it's not going to allow us to have a negotiation or even to explore a potential negotiation. President Donald Trump is a man who's made deals his entire life in the business, and he's bringing those principles to government, and he's the only one in the world that has any chance. If Donald Trump tomorrow decides, I don't care about Ukraine, I don't care about Russia, and I don't care about this war, and he walks away, I ask you, I ask everyone, well, who on this planet has any chance whatsoever, even a 1% chance of getting the combatants to the table? The answer is there is no one. He is the only one on earth right now that has any chance. If there is a chance of peace, he's the only one that has a chance to deliver on it.
Do you still see a meeting happening with President Putin there, President Zelensky, and President Trump? Is that still possible?
Well, I think that's premature. I mean, what would they? You first need to make sure that this is even a possibility, and you have to explore it. And look, there's good signs, I think, maybe, somewhat about at least the Russians' willingness to engage. And but we have to explore all that. But that's not going to be done in front of cameras. It's not going to be done in an open ballroom. There's a lot of work to be done before we get to this point. This is a complex war that has causes behind it that go back a number of years. There's a lot to navigate. A lot has been invested on both sides. Gains have been made by the Russian Federation in some places. All of these things have to be worked through, but it's not going to be done through press conferences and in the media. It has to be done through what the vice president said today, the serious work of diplomacy. It's a lot easier to just say, well, we're with Ukraine all the way, no matter what, however long it takes. Well, 15 years, 12 years? I mean, that's absurd. That's not sustainable, and everybody knows it. The president wants to end this war. He wants to explore whether there's a possibility to do it and do it quickly. He campaigned on it. It was a promise of his, and he intends to when he says these things, he doesn't just say them, he means them, and he's doing it. And it's the first time we've seen that in a long time in American politics.
Secretary Marco Rubio, thank you for your time tonight and joining us on such a historic day. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you.